Hello everybody, Blind Corn Dog here. In this video, I am going to show you how to incorporate mechanics from a good old game called Flappy Bird. It took the world by storm about 10 years ago. Kids, teens, adults all loved the game, and then it got taken away from us. Rest in peace, Flappy Bird. So, in Godot, I've created a new project, called it Clone. The first thing that I'm going to do is create in this scene a character body 2D. Now this character body 2D will need several children, the first of which I'm going to make the sprite, which will obviously represent the bird. For simplicity, I will most likely just be using a square. And then the other thing we need is a collision shape, as well as a camera, 2D, because we are making a two-dimensional game. So in the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is add the sprite to the game. So from my images over here, I am going to drag and drop a little green square into the folder. And that is what is going to be the sprite. Okay, so you can see that that's there, and obviously my collision shape is not going to be a circle. It is going to be a rectangle because all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. So you can just size this however you would like. I am just going to eyeball it, and that seems to be about right. So the other thing we need to do for our player is go ahead and attach a script. Now the only thing that I'm going to do to this script is one thing. If you want to make a 2D side-scroller game, it's probably one of the easiest things you can do in Godot. Now let's take a look at this code here. We have a couple of constants up here, which represent the speed of the character and the jump velocity. So when you jump, um, you go up on the screen, so you're subtracting from your Y position. This right here, if you are not on the floor, gravity will act upon your character until it touches the ground. Right here. If this action is pressed, UI accept. Now, that is going to be our spacebar. And is on floor. In order right now for the character to jump, they have to be on the floor. One simple little change here will fix that. They don't have to be on the floor. And then you can jump as many times as you want to. So, to prove that to you, I'm going to run this and you'll see me just jumping over and over again after I save this guy here. Well, something silly happened there. I think it's the camera. But you will see once we set up everything else in our other scene. The other things that are going on here is we are getting the direction of the character and we are incorporating that into the speed and direction of the movement. So the thing that we will change here specifically is this. I am going to go ahead and set the direction to just be 1. Now that means that the character will automatically move to the right. Alright? If I set it to -1, it would move to the left. Because we are going in a positive x direction, you want that to be 1. If you want to change it to something else, feel free. If you change it to 2, it will go a little bit faster. It might not be entirely necessary for you to have that there, but I'm going to leave it there just so you can see it. And I like knowing what's going on with the direction because if I just got rid of this and let it equal to speed, it might be a little confusing. That is just my opinion. All right. So in my next scene here, I am going to go ahead and just make it. I'm gonna set a node to be the parent node, and then we're gonna add several things. The first of which is a tile map. And then the other thing we are going to do is we are going to link the character body 2D to that. So again, for simplicity, what I am going to do for the tile map is probably just use this built-in icon for the kind of boundaries of the game. All right. So once you have your tile map there, come over here to tile set. You are going to make a new tile set. And then what I do, since we are incorporating boundaries here, this needs to be a physics layer. That means that the player has to be able to touch it. If we don't do this, then the player will just fall right through. So under tile set square, I'm going to adjust this to be 128 by 128 because that is the size of this little icon down here. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set up this physics layer. Why? Because our player has to touch it again. I'm going to hit add element. We're good there. Don't worry about it. Now we're going to come down here to tile set. We're going to click this plus button. Not over here. We're not in tile map. We're in tile set. I'm going to click add. Atlas. Icon. Open. No. Okay. Now come over here to select. Click this guy. Whoops. Click this guy. Select. Paint. Don't worry about select. I apologize. And then we're going to make it a physics layer 0. So that property will be applied to this tile. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come over to tile map, click on our tile, bring it over here, and we're going to start drawing. All right? So make sure you're in the 2D thing. That's how you draw tiles. So I'm going to go ahead and just start drawing these guys. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this works. And there we have it. So it works. It is colliding with those shapes, which is what we want. We can jump as many times as we want. That is perfect. So what was happening over here is you probably just can't tell that it is jumping because there's nothing around it. So here we can obviously tell that the character is moving. It jumps down, and we want to keep it like this. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to erase some of this. I somehow did that. So to erase tiles, what you want to do is you click this little icon here. That's the eraser, and I'm just going to start boom. Alrighty. So I'm going to zoom out here, click on this guy, click off that eraser, and we're going to start making just a little map here, all right? And it's going to be kind of random, but it will work for our purposes, right? Let's say we want to make him go up. Yeah, all right. So let's run this again, make sure we're still good here. These up here should be, yep, there we go. So there we go. All right, now. Oh no, we don't want that. All right, well, we made it, but we touched. So obviously, there is no game over, right? So to fix that, we need to come over to the characters script, and we're going to add an if statement with a couple of ors. What will those conditions be? Let's think about that for a second. I think that there are 3 possibilities. If we hit the floor, if we hit the ceiling, and then there's one other possibility. If we hit that right there, the game needs to be over. What this is considered is a wall. So if we hit the ceiling, the floor, or a wall, the game is over. Godot makes this very simple. In the physics process, if is on ceiling, or is on floor, or is on wall. We want the game to stop. As your game is developed, you will want to incorporate more and more complex things. As a prototype, I think the best thing to do for now is probably just to hide the player because we don't have an interface or anything like that to restart the game or to reset the character. So what I'm going to do is just hide the character. Now if I do that, the camera still moves, it still follows the character. I just want to hide the character, and then for the camera, of the character to be disabled. So what I'm going to do is disable that that camera, I apologize, by typing this line of code out, $camera 2D dot enabled equals false, so that it won't follow the character that is still actually there. All right. So if I do this, it's gone. Camera stopped working. If I do this, it's gone. Camera stopped working. If I do that, it's gone. All right. Now, is that perfect? Absolutely not. But I know, and you know, that the game is working because when he hits the ceiling, when he hits the wall, when he hits the floor, the game stops. And that is a sufficient enough prototype for your purposes. So, just as an example of what I meant here, if I comment this out and I run it, this camera enabled equals false, the character is still actually there. It doesn't disappear, and you can see that the camera is still following the character, right? That's a no-no. All right. And now that I think of it, there is actually one other thing that we probably need to do. We need to set the direction equal to 0 so that the character does actually stop moving. All right. Good deal. So let's check it out. Make sure. Yep, we're Gucci. I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. If you would like to check out anything else, please let me know. The nice thing about this that I forgot to mention is that gravity is already incorporated. If you ever want to update the gravity settings, it's pretty easy to look up in the Godot docs. You really just come up here to project settings and you go to 2D physics and you can set the default gravity to be any value you want to. You can set this to be a negative value so things actually fall upward instead of downward. You can set it equal to 0 so that there is no gravity whatsoever. Again, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a great day. Go make some games.